Fucking alright. We're restarting. Going on tonight a little different. Didn't really have time to get my game together. I was a little bit ill today. Nonetheless, I'm on. Won't be on too long. Hoping everybody comes by to say hi. I would sure appreciate that. We're going to try something a little different. Going to go through some of the day's news on social media. Going to have it backdropped by some of this good classical music. As I say, it's going to be dramified. I think the first YouTube fellow I'm starting with is Adam Mockler. As you can see, we froze him right in stupid face mode. And, you know, he's a good fella. He's super young. Not afraid to debate anybody. But I think one of the thing that comes about in the age of social media is they got to get the clicks. Everything has a little modicum of clickbaitiness to it. Therefore, we'll start off with some of this golden tunage to go with them.
All right, listen up. It's time to talk about it. There is a direct path for the Democratic Party to regain power and shift the way the American political game is played. And it is not enough for us to just win the midterms. Us knocking the Republican Party off of the chessboard in the 2026 midterms is only one step of a longer battle, a longer strategy. Yes, Speaker Mike Johnson is very unpopular, and yes, Donald Trump is right now spiraling down the drain.
This works pretty
dragging
good.
The Republican Party with him, but that does not automatically mean that the Democratic Party is popular, or that we have the right ideas or the right chess pieces in place to move the board forward. Because right now, we are looking to build a unified coalition that can take dark money out of politics, put a cap on how much billionaires can donate, make sure that there are no secret donations going around, make sure that Congress members can't trade stock, make sure that ICE has to take their masks off, and once we get into power, we will disband them and rebuild a more fair interior enforcement mechanism with actual human dignity and due process. I mean, there is a vision that I will lay out throughout this video of what we can build, but right now, the path to get there necessitates more than just winning in the midterms. Winning in the midterms is a function of Donald Trump and the people around him repeatedly stepping on the brake and betraying the American people in regards to the economy. I mean, Donald Trump ran as a change agent, and he changed the system all right, but he changed it for himself and for Elon Musk and for Howard Lutnick. The people around him have gained and benefited from this new system. The average American, 95% of Americans, have been left in the dust by the Epstein class, and that is what the Democratic Party needs to fix. It doesn't matter if we win the midterms, if it's just a function of the Republican Party being hated, but then we don't have the right players in the Senate, in the House, and eventually running in 2028 to push forward our ultimate agenda. The reality is the Democratic Party has spent the past 10 years unified by our opposition to Trumpism. We have coalesced around our hatred of this authoritarian strain of politics, and rightfully so. Nobody wants Trumpism to continue proliferating.
Son of a bitch.
At the end of the day, we need a more forward-looking vision that can appeal to the average American. We need to build a better world and a better America.
I'm going to roll with it.
And that's what we should talk about throughout this video. So make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed below if you want to help boost this message. And let's just start here. I want you to imagine for 1 second that Democrats take control of Congress in 2026, which looks very likely in the House and increasingly likely in the Senate, but we are still putting up a fight. But just imagine we take back
We're building up the crescendo
Not
here.
only will it be cathartic to impeach Kristi Noem, impeach Stephen Miller, hold Kash Patel and the likes accountable, but we also need a forward-looking vision. We need to change the system while we have power rather than just sticking it to the opposition party. Something that I think Democrats should immediately do when we take power is overhaul the tax code. Not even by making it more complicated or by taxing people more, but by removing special tax breaks and loopholes that disproportionately benefit the wealthiest of the wealthiest billionaires. I mean, for a quick statistic, we could save $1.8 trillion per year if we ended the 80-plus special tax breaks and loopholes that are allocated towards billionaires. Billionaires then use these loopholes to just make more money. We could send multiple thousands of dollars to every single American. We could revolutionize healthcare. We could help people throughout the country who need it. But rather than doing that, we currently have special tax breaks and loopholes for billionaires. This is something very real and very, very substantive that Democrats could run on, win on, and then enact change on. But the reason why Democrats haven't been doing that is because many...
All right. The musical piece that I got playing is called Holst. Well, the composer is Holst. And it's the title of the piece is Mars, the Bringer of War. I think it works. So, I'm going to keep doing this shit. Even if I don't get any painting done, it's fucking entertaining to me. So, yeah. We march forward. Let's continue, Adam.
Many Democrats, the majority of them, are still captured by these same billionaire interest groups that do not want these same exact loopholes to be removed, because then it hurts those billionaire donors. Somebody who has been doing a good job subverting this and sticking it to the billionaires, working for the American people, is James Tallarico, a Senate candidate out of Texas that actually has a shot of winning if Ken Paxton wins the Republican seat. James Tallarico is polling ahead of Ken Paxton, and it is beautiful to see. Just for a few candidates that I like. Juliana Stratton out of Illinois. If you live in Illinois, check out Juliana Stratton. Her platform is great, and I would urge voting for her as in a Senate seat. James Tallarico out of Texas. Great platform. Very, very winnable. He could genuinely flip a Texas seat blue. Check out this ad that he's playing for the Super Bowl.
Billionaires don't just influence politicians, they own them. That's why I don't take corporate PAC money. It's why I fought to cap campaign contributions. In the Senate, I'll ban billionaires from making unlimited...
My music is better than his. Better choice.
Of Congress from trading stocks, and I'll raise taxes on those at the top to fund tax cuts for the rest of us. I'm James Tallarico, and I approve this message because our government should work for all of us, not just billionaires.
I really, really like that ad. It is quick, it is succinct, and it shows what we need to be fighting for, and that's the people. For the past few decades in American politics, I mean, since the inception of American politics, but truly, over the past few decades, as the wealth gap has increased, billionaires have increasingly captured the ears of politicians. Interest groups have quite frankly captured both the Democratic and Republican Party in such a way that they push their, niche issue, even if it hurts Americans. And oftentimes, mainly Republicans will end up pushing that issue, even if it hurts Americans. For example, climate change is something that needs to be addressed right now. Democrats are doing a good job at actually addressing this. Credit where credit is due. That is why I lean Democratic. They actually try, they push back, and they care about human dignity, of course. But the Republican Party is so captured by coal and oil interest groups that they have blinded themselves to something that is existential to humanity. You see this with other issues, like APAC. You see this even with car manufacturers. An interesting statistic is that many, many states have banned direct-to-buyer car sales. So you have to go through a car dealership, not because it helps the average American, not because it makes it cheaper, but because car dealerships have their own lobby that pours money into politicians, and then politicians pass laws to necessitate car dealerships.
All right.
So car dealerships
I need to get
can make
another
money.
piece of music
Interest
on.
groups have captured the ears of our politicians, and we need to change that. Democrats need to be a change agent. And when it comes to 2028 candidates, I'm not even fully firm on anybody. I currently live and work in Illinois. And something I've been thinking of lately is how interesting it would
in the
be
Hall
for
of the
Governor
Mountain.
J.B. Pritzker to launch a national campaign where he only funds
No, we'll stick
himself.
with Mars
He doesn't take any money
for
from
Adam.
any billionaire donors,
'Cause
any
he's got
interest
just
groups,
enough,
maybe not even any donations at all. He just funds himself with his billions of dollars.
It fits
he
with
uses
him.
that to say, hey, when we get into office, I will not be beholden to AIPAC. I won't be beholden to, the dentist lobby, this lobby, that lobby. I will only be beholden to the American people who voted me in. I would love to see a candidate like that.
The
that actually means it,
anti-dentites.
because that's kind of what Trump tried to run on in 2016. He was supposed to be the billionaire outsider, but now he is the most corrupt, least popular president in American history. Check this out. A new NPR PBS Marist poll has found that Trump is facing his lowest polling since just after January 6th. His approval rating is 39%, which is still way too high in my book. His disapproval is 56%, and only 26% of Americans strongly approve what he is doing, which has been dropping. Trump is pissing off the American people, and we have a real chance to change the system. We have a real chance to change the tide. I promise you, I have seen this ICE occupation breaking through to more of my friends, more of my apolitical friends, than anything else. Between ICE, between Epstein, and between the economy, the Republican Party is cooked. But as I keep saying, that's not enough. We need to change things so people like Elon Musk can't have the influence they currently have. I love you all. I'll see you next video. Peace out.
Very nice. Let's see who we're going to next. Oh, will it work with the I Had It girls? They get
All right, the United States of America has a president that is in the epicenter of a child sex trafficking ring. And it gets this spotted news coverage. But more than anything, every single day he gets in front of the camera and he is a raving lunatic. I mean, his mental illness is on full display. His dementia is on full display. His personality disorders are on full display. The unblended makeup on full display. And the press just rolls along with it. Today we had the National Prayer Breakfast. And for those international listeners that want to know, why is this man not held accountable? And I'm going to tell you it's because not all Christians in the United States, but a very organized cult, white Christian evangelicals, support this man to the tune of 80 to 90%. And they allow him to do whatever he wants with impunity.
Shit.
They all go. They all claim they're pro-children, pro-life, pro-family. They all go to the National Prayer Breakfast. And here he is talking about he won't even pray with little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson. Play the clip.
In 2025, more copies of the Holy Bible were sold in the United States than at any time in the last 100 years. Now, how about that? How about that? Did you know that,
There's no
Mr.
correlations
Speaker?
to shit
You know,
there.
Mike Johnson's a very religious person, and he does not hide it. He'll say to me sometimes at lunch, "Sir, may we pray?" Say, "Excuse me? We're having lunch." You know, it's okay with me. But he's a very religious person, and he is popular, and he's doing an unbelievable job. So I think God is watching over you. God is watching over him. I don't know about me, so I hang around with him because I feel I'm protected a little bit.
Do you think, Pumps, that little Moses Mike Grinder gets what an insult that
Moses
was?
Mike
to him?
Grinder.
He gets that he says, he asked me if we want to pray. Pray, we're having lunch. And then he's a very religious man. Like, he absolutely cannot relate to it. He says he talks about his religion all the time. Little Grinder, I don't think he even knows that he is being patronized.
He doesn't know, and here's the thing, if he did know, he wouldn't give a shit because Trump humiliates him on a daily basis with all the ass kissing and all the protections and just hate. I mean, Mike Johnson might as well not even be in Congress because he just is a rubber stamp for Donald Trump, period. So even if he did know, I don't think he would give a shit because he has his lips just plastered to Trump's ass. And I just have to say, did you see the makeup line?
The aggression is perfect.
And then just the marbles in the mouth, the slurred speech. I know he's a famous teetotaler, but he sounds intoxicated. And, you know, he does this stuff. In any other country, if a president acted like this, and then we saw it in the United States, when we had a normal president, we'd be like, God, that's crazy. Why don't they impeach him? That's nuts. But all of this stuff is going on here. You know, all of these other countries, accountability for involvement in Jeffrey Epstein, accountability in trying to cite a violent insurrectionist, Brazil held Bolsonaro accountable. Here, it's just like, keep going, buddy. Here he is talking about bragging to Melania about his many crimes at the Christian prayer breakfast. Play the clip.
I got impeached. I got indicted. Wipe them out. There's never been, there's never been, to the best of our knowledge, any politician that's ever been indicted who won an election. Very popular politicians got indicted, they lost. I got indicted so much, I got tired of calling my wife. I'd say, darling, I was just indicted again. She said, oh, darling.
Darling. More like darling.
What does that mean? You know, she's very elegant. You saw that from the movie. She's not into the world of indictments.
Anybody even watch that fucking movie?
Doesn't know what an indictment, you know, it's not her deal. Her movie, but
That shit got dog walked.
First of all, 100%
On
chance,
reviews.
110% chance that they are not calling each other and saying, oh, darling, oh, darling, darling. Oh, darling, I was invited. And Melania's like, oh, darling, Donald, you are unifier. Why they indict you, Donald? She's probably like, you. Another thing here. The reason other presidents have not been indicted is because they are not criminals. This whole thing is new. You being a convicted felon in the American
Wait, I gotta
public
find some more
falling for
music,
this
goddammit. If only the compositions were longer. Well, shit, that was like 15 minutes long. What am I looking at next? Edvard Grieg. I don't know how to pronounce that. And it is Edvard from Svalbard. Probably not, but it rhymes. Fuck it. It's a little difficult to do trying to keep paint wet. And now we sit in silence until I'm ready to leave this blending alone. Heck yeah. We're taking care of things. Shit. Alright, I'll quit fucking around and get some more music. Because I think old Jen and Pumps Jen loves to talk shit about Mike Grinder. About little Mike. Poor gentleman. He is in the snake den pit thing, and there's no saving him now. I wonder with all the Palantir shit going on, how much, I mean, it's a window on pretty much everything. Like, I guarantee that Palantir can hear my comments pretty, it's probably just being, you know, recorded and whatnot. Hall of the Mountain King. That's what I'm looking at. But I wonder how much horrible shit that a lot of our lawmakers are, you know, having their search history and whatnot. Burner phones. Who knows? All right. So let's see how this goes with Hall of the Mountain King. It's only 2 minutes long. Well, let's make it count, eh?
Bullshit is very new, and you've had an assist from billionaires, the Supreme Court, a lackluster DOJ under
Has that even
Joe
got
Biden.
volume going on?
You didn't do this on your own. You have been assisted and assisted and assisted in your effort to skirt responsibility. And it's just such an indictment on all of the administrations prior to this that didn't hold previous administrations to count. Obama, whom I love, came in. He didn't try George Bush on the Abu Ghraib, the CIA black sites. They said, oh, we got to look forward. And those were really egregious human rights violations. And so when you look at what's happening right now, and I don't like
Why am I not hearing
criticizing
nothing?
Democrats, but in this moment, it requires that we be really clear-eyed about all of the breadcrumbs that were left in order for this man to stand up there and act like
Oh,
an
I guess that
insane
fits. I didn't know the name of this
person
piece.
to all of lying to all of these Christians.
And they're just knee slapping. They think it's so cute and funny. And here's the thing, because I'm just a complete petty asshole, that speech went on for an hour and 24 minutes.
He will not shut the fuck up.
He makes no sense. He's slurring like this. And then here's one thing that just goes all through me. On all of the coverage, when I was searching about this prayer breakfast, the headlines were, Trump addresses the National Prayer Breakfast. It was very benign. Like he had just gone up there, given a few hee-haws. Not. President Trump slurs, lies, and makes no fucking sense as he addresses the National Prayer Breakfast. And I think it goes to the point that you made. No one ever holds him to account, particularly the mainstream media.
Yeah,
now,
that kind of fits a
which
little
is,
bit.
in the pocket of all these billionaires, if they're not a billionaire.
Well, it's the same washing, and this has been going on for such a long time. And when we really autopsy this and get super clear-eyed, he has been able to get away with the assist of so many different people. He couldn't do this alone. He couldn't have ascended to this alone.
I'm almost ashamed I didn't know it was this
billionaire
friggin'
friends, a corrupt
musical
Supreme
piece.
Court, a lackluster Biden administration that wasn't serious about prosecuting him, that lollygagged and pussyfooted around 2 years before they appointed a special prosecutor. And it's just insane. And then the media to continue at this point. This should be a 911 house is on fire. Just this speech. And this is just a normal day in Trump's America. Here he is confirming that right-wing MAGA Christians hate Democrats. Play the clip.
I don't know how a person of faith can vote for a Democrat. I really don't. And I know we have some here today, and I don't know why they're here, because they certainly don't give us their vote.
Wagner.
I certainly know that we're not going to be convincing them to vote for...
We'll go there, Wagner. I'm going to have to do voice control or something, because I don't want to be getting my friggin' keyboard every 5 minutes.
a little thing called vote.
I'm going to tell you guys, this is good. This is a history of the National Prayer Breakfast. This is where Vladimir Putin was able to enter into Washington, D.C., because this group is the most co-opted group on the planet because they believe in nothing. They fall prey to propaganda like that because this group of people believes in nothing. These are the don't tread on me. These are the we must have the Second Amendment. This prayer breakfast is the most co-opted group of people in the world. This cult, this crazy Christian cult that exists in the United States of America, the ones that I know have been in it, have changed their opinions about things 180 degrees, 180 degrees, 180 degrees within 1 week. Because he changes his mind. You know, this guy's supposed to be a big laissez-faire capitalist. His economics have been anything but. He's supposed to be a small government guy. His policies have been huge, huge government. He's supposed to be a decrease the national debt guy. It's increased more than anything. He's supposed to be this rock star with the economy in record time. It usually takes Republicans around 4 years to tank the economy. He's done it in 1. The jobs right now, the job reports are abysmal. The stock market is starting to show people are purging Bitcoins, and the AI bubble that has been propping up everybody's 401ks is imminently going to pop because they're not getting a return on their investment. And you have literally, I've read into this, I think they're called the Magic 8, that just trade billions and trillions of dollars to keep the stock market afloat. And eventually it's going to come raining hellfire down on all these little Christians that like to get on their apps and look at their 401ks.
Hellfire.
And I don't know if that will change their opinion then. And I'm done, honestly, trying to change their opinion. And I think the Democrats that take a position of we need to learn how to talk to conservatives. We need to learn how to talk to moderates. No, you need to learn how to beat them. That needs to be your mantra. How do we beat these morally depraved people? I don't want to talk to people that triple Trumped. They're going to have to bathe in the mess that they made. My vote happens to be so comprehensive that I want an economy that's fair for them, that I want them to be able to access health care. If their daughters are raped, I want that choice of what the daughter chooses to do with such a horrible situation. I want that daughter to have that choice. All these little Christians there at the prayer breakfast, if they have a gay kid or a trans kid, I'm fighting for their kids right now. And so that's about as far as I can go with them. So instead of learning how to talk to them, let's take an economic populist message to everybody and say, look, we don't know how to bridge the divide with somebody who triple Trumped. And start talking to your base. Because if our base turned out, we win every election. That's why they want to make it so difficult to vote, because the data clearly shows the higher the turnout rate, the more Democrats win, because the Democratic policies are more inclusive.
No, I think you're absolutely right on that. And I just want to add to what you said, that I get so tired of any time there is gun violence or any type of shooting, it's always, we need to bring down the rhetoric. Tom Home and the border czar. You know, I knew with this kind of talk that this was going to happen. And so they're always saying, tone down the rhetoric. We need to be unified. This man, he loves dividing people. He goes to a fucking prayer breakfast and sticks the knife in people. When he wishes people a happy, like, Merry Christmas or Happy Easter, radical left scumbag, you know, all these things that he does, the rhetoric starts with him and it emboldens everybody else. And here's the thing, I don't think that rhetoric is what is killing people in the streets. I think that's guns. But that's what they always go back to. They have to tone down the rhetoric. And I listen to him talk, and I think, and Melania gets up there on Fox News, and with a straight face, she's like, he's a unifier. I'm like, bullshit. This is the most polarizing man, and he likes it. He likes for people to hate him because in his mind, it's passion. And it's just, I get so tired of the same old mantra from them. I get so tired of no accountability. It's just unbelievable that we're in this position, and I agree with you. I don't give a fuck about bringing somebody over. What we need to do is beat them. I think that's the exact thing we need to do.
All right, listener, it is a new year, and it's time for you to get back to feeling like yourself. The holidays, so much eating, so much commiserating. If losing weight is one of your 2026 goals and you're ready to make progress you can count on, then Weight Loss by Hers might be the right fit for you. Through Hers, you're connected with a medical provider at just $69 per month with Wired. See website.
Your words, and they don't. Because last time.
All right, we need some more music. God damn it! I gotta find a playlist where it's nothing but this stuff. I'm gonna have to make a playlist. Well, this will work too. Son of a bitch. All day my friggin' media player has been getting the boot from my router. And so I'm wondering why the fucking hell This'll work. This works for this.
Having a lot of fun. We had a big crowd. We had 60,000 people, and I'm talking about the fact that I will never make it to heaven. I will never, ever. And I was being funny. I was trying to be, you can't be sarcastic with them because they write your words, and they don't. The people are reading the words are much different than. But I say, I'm never going to make it to heaven. I just don't think I qualify. I don't think there's a thing I can do, but all of these good things I'm doing, including for religion, religion's back now hotter than ever before. They have to touch.
Okay, that's enough. Do you see how he talks about religion like it's a commodity?
Right.
It's a transaction. Like, this is why I fundamentally feel the Democrats' fool's errand, Kamala Harris's fool's errand in trotting around with Liz Cheney. And I voted for Kamala Harris, and I campaigned for her, and I would crawl through concrete to vote for a moderate Democrat that I fundamentally disagree with over one of these MAGA people. But when you decide that you're going to go after an electorate that sits and listens to this and doesn't think, crazy person, he's patronizing us, he's diminishing our faith, and they don't pick up on that, I don't know that they're going to pick up on whatever message you have. And I think the messaging from Democrats has got to be one of economic populism and universal human rights, because you're going to see, as the midterms come up, you're going to see a lot of Democrats very, very quickly pick up trans people and throw them under the bus as quickly as they can, because some consulting group has done some poll and they've crowdsourced it, and they're going to guide a lot of these politicians to move to the center. My argument about this is the center is where we lose, when we don't believe in anything, when we're playing pick-me politics. And I think if there are people in the margins that will float over, which we know that happens, Zoran Mamdani, 1 out of 10 of his voters were triple Trumpers. 1 out of 10, 10%. And I think what they liked about him is he had conviction. He had conviction. So when you're trying to do a word salad answer as a politician, or you start placating into right-wing talking points, you don't differentiate yourself enough from a corporate politician, whether it be a corporate Democrat or a corporate Republican, to stand out. Zoran Mamdani said, look, I'm standing up to these billionaires. I'm not taking their money. They want to label me as this, scary anti-Semite while using Islamophobia to do it. And I am going to stay laser focused on how I can make New York City affordable for everyone. And if you're a trans person, that includes you too, because I'm not a dick. He didn't say it like that. He has a lot more class than I do. But the Democrats you're going to see two different factions that arise here, and I'm already seeing it. I saw an interview with Josh Shapiro that I'll do an episode on that was incredibly disturbing to me. We've seen Gavin Newsom buckle on taxing billionaires, buckle on AIPAC, and bend the knee to Josh Shapiro. And we're going to see a lot of these corporate Democrats where in their Venn diagram, they overlap more with MAGA than they do the people. And so a lot of people will say, Jennifer, you're too hard on Democrats. And there's a distinction that I must draw. I'm very hard on corporate Democrats because those are the people that lost in 2016 and were ignored. They ignored the progressive Democrats, the Bernie Sanders wing of the party. And in 2024, these were centrist corporate Democratic policies. And so when people in rural America or flyover America say, I don't know what the difference is between the two parties, I used to be somewhat offended by that because I'm like, oh my God, like in a red state, it means, abortion rights, gay rights, keeping 10 Commandments and Bibles out of school. But if you're a working class person, they're exactly right. There isn't that much of a difference because these corporate politicians prop up corporations and lie. Both parties lie to the public. Now, I will say this. Democratic politicians, when they're elected, are far better mitigating factors for harm reduction. There's no question about that. And I acknowledge that. The harm reduction mitigating factors of a Kamala Harris, of a Hillary Clinton, for people that are incredibly marginalized and really abusive.
This has gotten too overly passionate
like
to fit with this music
Alabama,
right now.
like West Virginia. These politicians
Sorry, ladies.
do so much harm But at the same time, we now realize they've incubated these pick-me policies.
Good message. I think I gotta go with a little more dramatic. Yeah, dramatic. Alarmist. I'm gonna go with Midas Touch. Ben Mycelis. Jesus Christ. He looks like he's gonna jump out of his skin every time it's urgent. It's urgent, god damn it. Okay, so we're gonna go with that.
MAGA Republicans had a very bad day.
Yep. Mycelis is beet red. Let's start right back there. All right. Here we go, brother.
MAGA Republicans had a very bad day on Capitol Hill yesterday as finally Democrats in the House and in the Senate went on the offense in various hearings yesterday to expose the Trump regime, to call out the MAGA Republicans and bring transparency to issues that the American people care about. So the Democrats in the House and the Senate,
I don't disagree, but it's fucking cartoonish with this music.
Unofficial shadow hearings, as they're called, regarding ICE and Border Patrol terrorism across the country. They had to do these as shadow hearings because MAGA Republicans want to cover up Trump's ICE and Border Patrol forces engaging in these terroristic acts and these killings against people in this country. So Democrats in the House and the Senate brought witnesses who are survivors, victims of Trump's Border Patrol and ICE terrorism, and they gave some of the most compelling testimony. We'll talk about what went down there. Then, in the House, MAGA Republicans wanted to hold
much
a
better with the
hearing
music.
on what they said is a major issue, men playing female sports, and they wanted to further divide the country with their social and cultural war issues during an election year. I'll show you how Democrats flipped the script, neutralized what the MAGA Republicans were doing, and then went on the offense. Then in the Senate, there was a hearing where the NIH director, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, was called to testify, and you had senators like Bernie Sanders cross-examining Bhattacharya and exposing him and RFK Jr. and the fatal consequences of the Trump regime's assault on vaccines and science and medicine. So let's go through what went down. So at the shadow hearings, you had the victims and survivors of ICE and Border Patrol terrorism testify. One of the witnesses was Miramar Martinez, who was shot 5 times by Border Patrol agents back on October 4th, 2025. Border Patrol agents then made up a fabricated story that they feared for their life because they said Miramar Martinez attacked them with the vehicle and she rear-ended them and they had to shoot her, and that's what happened. They then tried to have her prosecuted federally. They wanted her to go to prison essentially for the rest of her life because they said she attacked them. Then all of the videos and contemporaneous evidence showed that what the Border Patrol agents were saying was an utter lie, and the charges against Miramar Martinez were dismissed, but she still suffers as a result of being shot 5 times. Well, she testified before the shadow hearings before Democrats in the House and the Senate. And Democratic Congressmember Robert Garcia, who is the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, he was questioning Miramar Martinez, and he brought out text messages during the questions which showed that the Border Patrol agents who shot her 5 times were sending text messages bragging about shooting her. And they would say things like, shot her 5 times and got 7 holes. Great work, boys. That's how you do it, boys. Watch as Congressmember Garcia reads these text messages while Miramar Martinez is testifying. This brought tears to my eyes. Let's play it.
It's disgusting, shameful, and it gets worse. Ms. Martinez, these are images of texts sent by the agent who shot you. And they're actually disturbing to read, but I think it's important for the public to see this. The agent linked an article about your shooting and texted, "Read it. 5 shots, 7 holes. I fired 5 rounds and she had 7 holes. Put that in your book, boys." Oh well, it is what it is. Shit happens. This is someone that works for the United States government. I fired 5 rounds and she had 7 holes. Now, he was talking about you, and it's our understanding that he was actually bragging about his aim shooting an unarmed American citizen. Is that right?
Correct.
I'm so sorry, Ms. Martinez. DHS has allowed the agent who shot you to remove evidence and to potentially destroy it. Is that correct?
Oh, this music went to shit.
Next, I want to share with you what Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had to say as she flipped the
Well,
script.
we better get some different music on for Crockett. We might have to go back to Mars. Whoa! I forgot. I don't have a tooth right there. Shit. It's a good thing I'm wearing these scrubs like I'm actually working or something. Oh, damn. It is midnight. I'm going to have to go pretty soon. All right. Let's see if Vivaldi is correct. Uh-oh.
When MAGA Republicans were trying to do their own hearing, injecting culture war issues, Congresswoman Crockett brought things back into focus, called out Donald Trump's appearance in the Epstein files 38,000 times, and she called out the real issues that are affecting our country. Here, play this clip right here.
I don't understand why and where my colleagues are going on everything else, and now they want to be the protectors of girls and women. I didn't hear them screaming this when Renee Good was killed in the middle of the street in Minneapolis. I didn't hear any protection for Renee Good, a U.S. citizen that was killed by the same people that the vast majority of you just voted to give more money to. I didn't hear the same thing. In fact, it was a lot of crickets, specifically including the women, as we were just lecturing about what we need to do as women.
United States
not the best
government.
piece.
Things back into focus.
Citizen that was killed by the same people.
Called out Donald.
All right, we got to go back to Mars. It's way too dramatic and too buildy not to use. Shit, it can work for everything.
Donald Trump's appearance in the Epstein files 38,000 times, and she called out the real issues that are affecting our country. Here, play this clip right here.
I don't understand why and where my colleagues are going on everything else, and now they want to be the protectors of girls and women. I didn't hear them screaming this when Renee Good was killed in the middle of the street in Minneapolis. I didn't hear any protection for Renee Good, a U.S. citizen that was killed by the same people that the vast majority of you just voted to give more money to. I didn't hear the same thing. In fact, it was a lot of crickets, specifically including the women, as we were just lectured about what we need to do as women when it came down to the Epstein files. I heard crickets. In fact, we could not get any signatures onto that discharge petition, to the extent that we shut down the entire House, and there was no business that was conducted in this entire country on behalf of our constituents. But let me be clear, the Republicans are going to protect girls and women, because that's what this is all about. It's not about the report. It's the amendment says it's about a report. Like, miss me on being protectors. Just say that this is what you believe, this is what you're doing. But don't come at us and tell us as women what we should be okay with, what we shouldn't be okay with, because it's just kind of like the same thing where I should be telling a lot of women on the other side of the aisle, I don't know how it is that you are not protecting women as they need protections over their own bodies to make their own decisions.
And now I want to show you Senator Bernie Sanders cross-examining NIH Director Bhattacharya. Let's watch this beautiful cross-exam by Bernie Sanders. Here, playing this clip.
That we have to address the deep distrust that has developed over the last several years by the public of the party.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't have a lot of time. You're right. There is deep mistrust. Do you think that deep mistrust now has something to do when you have an organization like the American Medical Association telling us that vaccines do not cause autism, but you have a secretary of HHS who says the very opposite? Do you think that causes concern and mistrust among parents?
Senator, in 2024, there was a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association that said that only about 40% of patients still trust their doctors. As someone who went to medical school myself, it's absolutely shocking. And that's before Secretary Kennedy took office. We have to address this mistrust, but it has to be a bipartisan effort.
Let me ask you a simple question. Tell the American people, I appreciate your thoughts on measles. Do vaccines cause autism? Tell that to the American people. Yes? No?
I do not believe that the measles vaccine causes autism.
No, I didn't ask measles. Do vaccines cause autism?
I have not seen a study that suggests any single vaccine causes autism.
Okay, thank you.
Now I want to share with you Miramar Martinez's testimony. I thought this was so powerful and compelling as Democrats brought forward people who survived the terrorism or family members of people who got killed by ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo. So Miramar Martinez explains what happened to her, someone who was born and raised in Chicago, who on October 4th, 2025 was shot 5 times by Border Patrol agents. Play this clip.
I come from a beautiful family full of immigrants. I am proud of my roots. I am born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, where I learned the values of resilience, community, respect, love, and hope. Those lessons have shaped me since childhood and continue to guide me through my adult life. On October 4, 2025, those values were tested when my life was nearly taken by my own government.
She then talks about driving past the Border Patrol agents and what happened in this clip.
Seemed like time stopped. I knew from watching the news coverage of other Border Patrol encounters in Chicago that I was in danger. I watched the vehicle of Border Patrol agent killing Silverio Villegas Gonzalez just 3 weeks prior. I knew I had to get to safety before I was dragged from my car and likely beaten or killed. I drove forward and went around the Border Patrol agents, who jumped out of his car and pointed his gun at me. I moved to the far left lane, striking the curb on the far left side of Kedzie. The next thing I knew, I felt a burning sensation in my arms, legs, and that I had been shot by pepper balls, which I also seen these agents fire at people in our community.
Well, I felt like a dick until she started going over everything.
To drive past
this
the Border
is
Patrol agents, I could hear
action.
my back passenger window shattered.
Not saying it's right or wrong.
And I felt bullets continue to pierce my body. As I attempted
I'm pretty wrong for putting the music on.
I began to feel lightheaded. I looked down and I noticed blood gushing out of my arms and legs, and I realized I'd been shot multiple times. As I became lightheaded, I became worried I would pass out and endanger other drivers on the road. I managed to drive a mile from where the incident happened, and I pulled into a parking lot of a mechanic shop, and I called 911. I told the 911 operator that Border Patrol agents had just shot me and I needed help. I recall some of the workers from the shop sitting me down in a chair as I was waiting for help, but I was losing this battle. I saw my life flash before me and slowly began to think this was the end for me. And before losing consciousness, the next thing I remember is the EMT putting me on a stretcher, taking me to the hospital. At the hospital, I remember seeing multiple agents standing around, watching me be treated for my wounds. My arms, legs, and chest were all wrapped in bandages. I had 7 bullet holes in my body. I remember the agents rushing the nurses to finish up so they could take me with them. I still felt dizzy. I was not able to fully process what had happened to me. After being
this is the worst time that the worst story
I was discharged
to have
from
that
the
shit
hospital
going
into
on.
custody of the FBI. As we left the hospital, I was
I am
escorted
going
out
straight
through
to
the
hell.
back in a wheelchair.
She talks about being escorted out through the back in a wheelchair and how one of the agents took photographs of her. Play this clip.
After being at the hospital for less than 3 hours, I was discharged
It makes
from the
it makes
hospital
stuff
into
like this
custody of
easier to
the
take.
FBI.
Probably shouldn't
As
do
we
that,
left
but
the hospital, I was escorted out through the back in a wheelchair.
I got to tell you what, I'm a little bit snake bit. I need something else dramatic. Oh no. We may have to. But this piece I know is not free use, so I gotta avoid it. No ecstasy of gold. Let's check this guy out. Nope. Stop. Let us find it. I don't know if I could. That is horrible audio quality. That could work. It's got a little bit of a dramatic feel.
I observed over dozens of Border Patrol agents waiting outside the hospital. One of them, one of
that
the
makes me
agents
think of
came
Tombstone.
up to me with his cell phone and took a photograph of
Huckleberry.
me. It was the same agent who had previously kept coming in and out my room, and I had to repeatedly tell him to leave. I told him I did not consent for him to photograph me, but he did not care. It still haunts me that this agent has my photo on his phone. Was this the agent that shot me? Was this a trophy for him?
And she talks about being rushed out of the hospital. Let's play this clip right here.
I was next taken to the FBI building for further processing because they rushed me out of the hospital so quickly the blood started soaking through the bandages. I heard the agents talking about how the jail will not accept me in this current condition. I begged the agents to take me to a different hospital to give me proper medical care. Seeing me stand in a pool of my own blood, they were concerned about my health. One of the kind FBI agents brought a bag of additional bandages and worked quickly to pour more dressings over my bloody bandages. The FBI agents agreed to take me to a different hospital where my wounds were treated again and I received additional medical care before being released back into law enforcement. Before being released back to law enforcement custody the following day.
You know, I've been trying to think of ways to take better care of myself, and I feel like skincare often gets overlooked. Plus, it seems like so many people are just chasing trends and not actually looking at what works. That's what really drew me to OneSkin. What I like most is how grounded it is in data. Something that caught my attention was that OneSkin was founded by an all-woman team of PhD scientists and rooted in real longevity research. I kept hearing about it from people I actually trust in the wellness and biohacking space, not just influencers pushing the latest thing. I've tried their OS1 face and the body lotion, and the face moisturizer is my go-to. It's lightweight, absorbs fast, and doesn't leave that greasy feeling, which honestly surprised me.
Relief for a traumatic brain injury that she previously suffered. Here she describes what went down on January 13 when she was attacked and detained by Trump's Gestapo.
Oh, this is
I pleaded for emergency medical care for over an hour after my vision had become blurry, my heart rate went through the roof, and the pain in my neck and head became unbearable. It was denied. When I became unable to speak, my cellmate pleaded for me. The last sounds I remember before I blacked out on the cell floor were my cellmate banging on the door, pleading for a medic, and a voice outside saying, "We don't want to step on ICE's toes." When I opened my eyes at Hennepin County's emergency room, I learned I was brought there to be treated for assault. The
Yeah, I think
impacts of
there's
DHS detention on my
going to be a
physical,
lot
mental, and
for
financial well-being and safety have
ICE
been
agents to
very
answer
severe,
for.
but I do not deserve more humane treatment than anyone else, U.S. citizen or not. And I am here today with a strong spirit and a duty to the many people who haven't had the privilege to tell their stories or see their loved ones come home. I am extremely distressed by the pattern that violence from law enforcement has been happening to Black and Indigenous communities for centuries, and to DHS survivors for over 20 years. We call ourselves a civilized nation, but we lack rules and accountability around what a person claiming to be law enforcement is permitted to do to another human being. I am not afraid, and I'm not afraid to keep working on this problem, even after ICE is gone. Thank you for your time.
Now, this next testimony brought tears to my eyes when I watched it live as well. You had Luke Ganger, brother of Renee Nicole Good, share what his family has experienced right now, having lost Renee Nicole Good. Play this clip.
Thank you, Ranking Member Blumenthal, and Ranking Member Garcia, and distinguished members of Congress. My name is Luke Ganger. I'm here with my brother Brent. Renee Good is our sister. We're here on behalf of Nay's big family and those who loved her. We're here to ask for your help. I was talking to my 4-year-old last week when she noticed that I was not doing well. I had to come here today and talk to some important people.
Wow, that's
She knows that her aunt died.
a little too much
that
sound for
somebody
this.
caused it to happen. She told me that there are no bad people and that everyone makes mistakes. She has May's spirit. The deep distress our family feels because of May's loss is in such a violent, unnecessary way is complicated by feelings of disbelief, distress, and desperation for change. In the last few weeks, our family took some consolation, thinking that perhaps Nay's death would bring about change in our country, and it has not. The completely surreal scenes taking place on the streets of Minneapolis are beyond explanation. This is not just a bad day or a rough week or isolated incidents. These encounters with federal agents are changing the community and changing many lives, including ours, forever. And I still don't know how to explain to my 4-year-old what these agents are doing when we pass by.
Yeah, it's friggin'
Our
awful.
family is deeply grateful for the
this is her
outpouring
brother.
of love and support from the community in Minneapolis and from people across the country and around the world. The prayers and words of support have truly brought us comfort and It is meaningful that these sentiments have come from people of all colors, faiths, and ideals. That is a perfect reflection of Renee, who carried peace, patience,
I got some peeps
and
on
love for
Facebook.
others wherever she went.
Here's Brett Ganger, another brother of
Hello
Renee.
back.
Here's what he has to say. Play this clip.
My name is Brent Ganger, and I'd like to share some
All
thoughts
right.
from the eulogy.
I need to get off this because these guys are very serious. And when I say I'm going to hell, I probably will, because there was a moment there that the music was way too funny to ignore. So we might as well go back to the formula that works. Let's see. What do I got that I can go to? Where is the news time? Dramatic like. Brian Tyler Cohen? Maybe. That could work. Jesus, these guys don't even comb their hair. Yeah, I think we'll go there. It's all major breaking news. Let's see. Here's a good old Mike Johnson. We'll go with Mike Johnson for a minute. I think that could be interesting. Shame.
More MAGA Republican Congress members getting booed at town halls. That right there was MAGA Republican Congress member Mike Lawler from New York's 17th Congressional District. He pretends that he's a moderate, but Lawler is a MAGA extremist who has supported Donald Trump's agenda every single day. Let me show you a longer clip of what went down as Mike Lawler had U.S. Navy veteran Roberto Garachano thrown out of the town hall. Garachano is a constituent of Lawler, and Lawler didn't like that he was being questioned by a U.S. Navy veteran. I'll show you what went down here, and this is what we're seeing in MAGA Republican Town Hall after MAGA Republican Town Hall. Here, play this clip right here.
Don't move!
The real questions.
I want to hear the answer to the question. Just like all your constituents here. All your constituents want to hear you answer the question. 6 years in the Navy for you to not answer the question. What did you serve? What did you do? What's your name? Roberto Garachano. Roberto? Spell your name. G-A-R-A. Folks, again, this is a video recording. There's some people in the audience who are not comfortable with the information. Connor in the press. Connor in the press. Gray sweatshirt. Connor in the press. He knows me. Gray sweatshirt. Connor knows me.
people who attended that town hall had like the following reviews about Lawler. You had this constituent say the following. Here, play this clip.
He doesn't answer the people's questions. If it's a topic that he feels like he's in the right, he talks for half an hour. But then when someone asks him a specific question, he gives this brief answer but doesn't answer the question.
Yeah, that about sums it up. Lawler's an absolute sociopath right there. By the way, in the front row, he had his MAGA allies clapping for him so he could feel good about himself. Take a look right here as you have this Orangetown supervisor, Teresa Kenny, MAGA Republican, and you'll hear her say when Garachano was kicked out, you'll hear her say, check his immigration status, check his immigration papers. We're talking about a U.S. Navy vet. Just watch what she does here. Play this clip.
Jesus Christ.
Just been panicking all day, and now
she's saying check his immigration status.
Well, you know, in California, you know,
check if she flew in on a broom. Fucking nose is out of control.
It looks fraudulent to me. Here's what MAGA Mike says.
In some of the states, like in California, for example, I mean, they hold the elections open for weeks after Election Day. That's just one thing that bothers so many people. We had 3 House Republican candidates who were ahead on Election Day in the last election cycle. And every time a new tranche of ballots came in, they just magically whittled away until their leads were lost. In no series of ballots that were counted after Election Day were our candidates ahead on any of those counts. It looks on its face to be fraudulent. Can I prove that? No, because it happened so far upstream. But we need more confidence in the American people in the election system.
And then the Midas
I wonder
touch.
if he knows how all those mail-in ballots work.
DC bureau head Pablo Manriquez asked MAGA Mike Johnson how the horrific ICE and Border Patrol terrorism squares with MAGA Mike's reading of the Bible and Scripture. And watch MAGA Mike just say the most complete and utter nonsense right here. Let's play this clip.
Poplio has cited Matthew 25:35 to critique Donald Trump's mass deportation agenda. How would you respond to Poplio in Scripture?
So you want me to give you a theological dissertation? All right, I'll tell you what, I'll post it on my website.
What's with these guys and their fucking haircuts?
Borders and walls are biblical. From the Old Testament to the New, God has allowed us to set up our
the fucking first grader and on school picture day haircut.
It's not something that's frowned upon in Scripture. In fact, it's welcome. We're going to welcome the sojourner and love our neighbor as ourselves. But what's also important in the Bible is that assimilation is expected and anticipated and proper. When someone comes into your country, comes into your nation, they do not have the right to change its laws or to change its society. They're expected to assimilate. We haven't had a lot of that going on. When people cite passages out of the Old Testament, they say, well, you're
assimilation.
Supposed to take care of the sojourner and the neighbor and treat them as yourself, welcome them in. Yes, but that is an admonition to individuals, not to the civil authorities. The civil authorities are given authority under Scripture to maintain order. Romans 12, you want to do this? Romans 13 says that the civil authorities are God's agents of wrath to bring punishment upon the wrongdoer. And it says if you do right, you have no fear of the civil authorities, but those civil authorities are necessary. It's a calling. It's a calling to maintain order in society, and we have not had that. When Biden and Harris opened the borders wide for 4 years, we had as many as 20 million illegals come across the country, and we
Nobody's
all know
giving you
many
order.
dangerous.
Maybe you can go get some discipline on Grindr, you fuck. I don't know if anything is as good as Holst. I gotta find something similar. Because I don't wanna beat it to death. Let's do related. Jupiter, perhaps? Is this going to be dramatic-like? Well, let's give her a shot.
Dangerous people, hardened criminals, child molesters, rapists, murderers, all the rest, terrorists who came into the country. We did not take care of our borders. Sovereign borders are biblical and good and right, and they're just, because it's not because we hate the people on the outside, it's because we love the people on the inside. We should love our neighbor as ourselves as individuals, but as a civil authority, and the government has to maintain the law. And that is biblical, and it's right, and it's just, and I'm
biblical,
happy to have
right,
this
and
lengthy
just.
debate with anybody anytime they want to, and I'll post on my X page the longer dissertation on that for you today, okay? Thank you.
Now I want to bring in the Democratic candidate for governor of Wisconsin, former lieutenant governor of Wisconsin, Mandela Barnes. Mr. Barnes, great to see you. You and I talked when you first announced your
Yeah, it looks
campaign.
like I got a little bit of a smudge there.
Amazing amount of momentum heading into generals, but I want to chat with you about the attack on Wisconsin right now from Donald Trump. It's been relentless, you know, and it feels antagonistic. I mean, truly, it feels like Trump and the MAGA apparatus in Wisconsin work day and night to try to attack the state of Wisconsin. What are you seeing, and how are you going to push back?
Well, the problem is Donald Trump has been allowed this virtually unchecked and unlimited amount of power, and that's happened because people in Congress
That's not as good.
who have decided that it is more politically advantageous for them to side with him every step of the way versus truly represent the people that they were elected to serve. And it
Let's
couldn't
give
be more
Uranus a
apparent
shot.
than with a Tom Tiffany.
I pronounce
who is
it
the
Uranus.
Republican nominee for
Uranus.
governor, who was just
Doesn't get any
endorsed by
better
Donald
either
Trump.
way.
He was endorsed by Donald Trump for a reason. Donald Trump would love nothing more than to have a rubber stamp in the governor's office in a state like Wisconsin, the swing state of Wisconsin. He's already proved how extreme
That movie,
he can
that
be. We know how extreme.
music beginning just remind me of like General Zod coming down. On planet Houston. I need to make a video compilation of every time they say Antifa like they don't know what the fuck. It's like this marauding gang. It's the Antifas. We can go with Luke Beasley. He gets pretty dramatic. And apparently there's some kind of Nick Fuentes gay bomb.
I don't
We'll
even
go
know
with
how to
that.
properly explain this. You have the very prominent right-wing extreme white nationalist, some describe as a neo-Nazi, fairly because of his constant praise for Hitler and the Nazis, Nick Fuentes, on one side of a beef with another guy who I wasn't really familiar with, but I guess he was in MMA or was a fighter of some sort and then got into the influencer space and is also in that extreme right-wing neo-Nazi world. And apparently really likes Hitler. And now you have Nick Fuentes saying to Jake Shields, who's the other character in this, hey, why do you like Hitler so much? So, the guy who's most famous for saying, I think one of the most famous things Nick Fuentes has said, Hitler is really effing cool, is now going over to a different guy who was really just following his lead and saying, hey, you're not really supposed to like Hitler, which obviously is correct. You're not, if you have any moral bone in your body. But I'm confused at, is Nick trying to moderate himself all of a sudden? Or is he really trying to get away with saying it was all a joke the whole time, all of his espousing of Nazi-adjacent views? So you might remember, for context, so you know I'm not just pulling this out my rear end, then I'll show you his rant against this other guy, alt-right type guy. Here is him on Piers Morgan.
What you, a prominent conservative in America, has to say about Adolf Hitler. And what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
And that's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah,
I mean,
do.
can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow
He
up?
murdered
That
12
is just
million people.
childish.
He murdered 12 million
Okay.
people. What is very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits, it's just cool. The uniforms, the parades, it's cool as a guy. You look at World War II, and it's fascinating, and it's interesting, and it's compelling. and it's cool. And you know, we're just tired of saying these kinds of things. We want to talk like real people and give our honest opinions, and then we literally get an old Jewish guy from England who's going to say, "Oh, that's not very funny, mate. Me mom," and it's like, shut up. Like,
so that was just a couple months ago, and he had this clip played for him.
I saw something on Twitter. I don't even know if this is true, but something on Twitter said like, all of Hitler's girlfriends were 16 and 17. And Alex Jones, I don't even know if that's true, but if that is, that's probably why Alex Jones called Hitler a pedophile. And it's like, you faggots would be saying the same thing about Hitler. MLK was a rapist, and Hitler was a pedophile. It's like, you know what? The world's a little bit more complicated than that. Okay? The world's a little bit more complicated than you're making it out to be.
Fuentes is making some inroads there to
It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool.
Get with some teens.
You know, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool. And any boy.
So does that seem like he's saying it ironically? Because he's... Now, for you to think... It's so weird for people like... maybe Alex Jones was doing this. To go... Which he'll do this. He'll go... Listen, I don't like Hitler. Because he's afraid of his audience getting mad when he says that.
You remember when
was a pedophile.
Trump invited Nick Fuentes to the fucking White House for dinner?
Wait, that's the... Really? Is there no other reason that you don't like him? The genocide? Is that a problem you have with him? Just, and he's a pagan? So he's actually doing like a cost-benefit analysis and is saying, they're trying to impugn his character with this stuff, but what about this stuff? It doesn't sound like I'm making an ironic joke. But now you have him, this headline, Nick Fuentes berates pundit who worships Hitler right after saying the Nazi leader was effing cool. So this just fascinated me how confusing these... I've never seen a group tear each other apart more than the far right. They're always beefing with each other, and they, as I said before, when you hang out with a bunch of Nazis,
what happened to my music?
Very quickly you realize all of them suck, even if you thought you were one, which is what all these people are experiencing. And so they go and they start hanging out and they're like, ugh, these people are terrible. Why did I choose to associate with this horrific ideology? And I guess that's kind of what Nick is going through, where now he's going, okay, well, Jake Shields is annoying. He like worships Hitler. I just like the guy.
And Jake, this guy, how many times are we going to have this public blow up?
Oh, let me take this down. Maybe one of the reasons he's upset is Jake Shields said, I've already had an extremely successful career and do the podcast as a hobby. I've been nothing but respectful to Nick and got him on a big podcast when nobody would touch him. I even ignored him being as homosexual. You all know this is true, but apparently he wants war with me. I know things that I'm not sure I'll share, but we all know this is true, including you. We all knew. We just liked what he was saying.
We all knew it to be true.
Right, do people still call it that? The extreme fringe right, the white nationalist right? The biggest bomb you can drop is gay or fed. That's their two allegations. If they don't like someone, they say you're either gay or you're a fed. And that gets claimed about Nick a lot. So now here's him responding.
And Jake, this guy, how many times are we going to have this public blow up?
Which planet?
And every time he apologizes, hey man, I'm sorry. Hey man, I shouldn't have said that. Hey, I should have talked to you first. Hey, I didn't see this. But people have this resentment towards me. They don't want to fight me. And then they just accidentally let it slip that they got this big fucking problem with me. I love that.
This is too quiet.
Whatever, bro. I'm just over it. I'm just so over that. Guy that literally worships Hitler. All of them. Worship Hitler. Hitler's the man. I love Hitler. LOL, the Holocaust. Dude, Hitler was a racial supremacist. They really think that Hitler wanted to create like a wholesome Chungus
You said... I don't understand what's happening. That's what Nick has acted like his whole career.
Bro.
What? I just showed you the clips. He's saying this is what the heck? It's like he created a movement and then realized how disgusting he was by looking at his movement.
All right, we'll
Nick
go back.
Fuentes cultivated an audience, and I think every time he actually who worships Hitler right after saying the Nazi leader was effing cool. So this just fascinated me how confusing these. I've never seen a group tear each other apart more than the far right. They're always beefing with each other, and they, as I said before, when you hang out with a bunch of Nazis, very quickly you realize all of them suck, even if you thought you were one, which is what all these people are experiencing. And so they go and they start hanging out, and they're like, ugh, these people are terrible. Why did I choose to associate with this
I'm gonna have to get
ideology? And I
some
guess
more
that's kinda
dramatic
what Nick is
shit going.
through, where now he's going, okay, well, Jake Shields is annoying. He worships Hitler. I just like the guy.
And Jake, this guy, how many times are we going to have this public blow up?
Oh, let me take this down. Maybe one of the reasons he's upset is Jake Shields said, I've already had an extremely successful career and do the podcast as a hobby. I've been nothing but respectful to Nick and got him on a big podcast when nobody would touch him. I even ignored him being as homosexual. You all know this is true, but apparently he wants war with me. I know things that I'm not sure I'll share, but we all know this is true, including you. We all knew. We just liked what he was saying. So again, in the alt-right, do people still call it that? The extreme fringe right, the white nationalist right? The biggest bomb you can drop is gay or fed. That's their two allegations. If they don't like someone, they say you're either gay or you're fed. And that gets claimed about Nick a lot. So now here's him respond.
And Jake, this guy, how many times are we going to have this public blow up? And every time he apologizes, hey man, I'm sorry. Hey man, I shouldn't have said that. Hey, I should have talked to you first. Hey, I didn't see this. But people have this resentment towards me. They don't want to fight me. And then they just accidentally let it slip that they got this big fucking problem with me. I love that. So.
Oh, Nick Fuentes.
I'm just over it. I'm just so over that.
He's so brokenhearted.
Guy that literally worships Hitler. All of them. Worship Hitler. Hitler's the man. I love Hitler. LOL, the Holocaust. Dude, Hitler was a racial supremacist. They really think that Hitler wanted to create a wholesome Chungus
You said... I don't understand what's happening. That's what Nick has acted like his whole career. What? I just showed you the clips. He's saying this is what the heck? It's like he created a movement and then realized how disgusting he was by looking at his movement. Nick Fuentes cultivated an audience, and I think every time he actually sees who his audience is, he's repulsed. But maybe he hasn't realized yet that just means he's repulsed with himself, with the message he's been delivering for years. Because Jake Shields, from what I've seen, is just like a Nick Fuentes spin-off. Like a cauliflower-eared version of Nick Fuentes. Isn't that what it's called whenever you fight a lot? You get just like a former fighter version of Nick Fuentes.
Jake Shields is a little,
So yeah, it's correct. I'm sure Shields, from what I've seen, is a worshiper of Hitler or whatever. But is that not the very type of movement, there he is, that you have cultivated? Let's keep hearing his explanation.
Socialist country. If Hitler had it his way, they would have killed and enslaved millions of people. What the fuck are you talking?
He did kill 6 million Jewish people. And a bunch of other people whenever political prisoners or gay people or black people.
And the gypsies.
Was doing that. Did it. That's the point. We already knew that, and now he's having to explain that to people who bought into his bogus lies about this event. The world is upside down. You got Ye apologizing for being a Nazi, and now Nick is getting on to people for liking Hitler.
So much
It's
better.
like, is everyone just realizing, since Trump has messed up the country so much, that maybe the liberals
Showing my
weren't so
painting.
crazy after all? He's like, the liberals kept telling.
I know I'm not talking a whole lot tonight. Can't really blame myself. I'm pretty fucking entertained listening to the news with this music on it. And I know that her eye right now looks pretty jacked, but I wanted to get the depth in it before doing anything else. Because I can paint her iris back in. That's not going to be a problem. But I want there to be that depth that I'm not going to get otherwise. And so that really did have to be done. On the other eye, I'm going to have to make it a whole lot redder. But yeah, that's the advantage to these types of paints, is that you can paint over them again and again. They thicken up some. I mean, it becomes obvious once you start overworking them a little bit. You know, they're casting shadows and shit. But I just got distracted by Luke's face. Horrible. Horrible person I am. But I just saw a headline that I might have to go with on the Bulwark, because apparently there's a shocking sex scandal blowing up the trad right. What did we find out? What kind of group banging is going on that got unearthed? Somebody left their camera on or some shit. I think for that we are going to stick with this dramatic presentation, because it is a shocking sex scandal.
Hey everybody, the Potato Boys are back. I'm Tim Miller of the Bulwark. That's Sam Side. He's the managing editor. Will Summer writes the False Flag newsletter, and the recent False Flag
Tim's
newsletter
alright.
is the best one in a minute. They're all good, but it is titillating. It is exactly the type of
We'll start
newsletter that
back here.
this video trio is meant for. The title is A Shocking Sex
Trad right.
Scandal Rocks the Trad Right. Before the article even dropped, I'd already received a text from a prominent MAGA influencer saying, when is the trio going to comment on the Elijah Schaefer scandal? So the MAGA influencers are watching and waiting for our commentary.
I don't even know who Elijah Schaefer is.
One of the characters
I'm going to have to do my research a
in
little.
this story was also a character in the original fingering story that was the impetus for this very show. So there's a lot here. It should be a fan favorite. That's my intro. That's my tease for everybody. I hope you're ready. I hope you're, go get your popcorn. Go get a little glass of white wine, whatever it is you like to do when you watch the trio.
White wine.
And let's get going. Will, tell us about the shocking sex scandal. Give us the players. Let's start with the key players.
Okay, here are our key players. We've got Elijah Schaefer, who's sort of a dissolute far-right commentator. He used to be Glenn Beck's protege, sort of.
Oh,
he got
Jesus.
famous for going to the riots around George Floyd, and people would scuffle with him. And then he had sort of a fall from grace. And so now he reinvented himself as this Christian family man. He's always saying, you losers on the right, you got to get married, whatever. Here's my beautiful family. Oh, I love God so much. And then, let's see how that goes. And then our other character is Sarah Stock, who works for Elijah at his new operation, which is called Rift TV. People may remember her, number one, because she was in the Sam Cedar Jubilee video. She's in a lot of these Jubilee YouTube debate videos. And she's kind of like, there's like MAGA people, and then they're like, oh, they got the racist lady. Like, they're really like, she's just like, well, it should be only white people in America. And you go, oh. And so that has kind of over the past year propelled her She became like a traditional sort of Catholic influencer. She was really touting her marriage. And then also I would say, as you said, she's famous in our world, in the trio world, because, or after she got engaged, she posted a picture of the wedding ring, and a lot of other right-wing women found the diamond almost comically small. And then this sort of provoked a lot of, I guess I'll just say cattiness about it.
Yeah.
Wait,
and then
remind me
how
how
did
this
that,
plays
how did
the
that relate to the fingering again? Refresh me on that.
Yes, because these women started fighting with each other, and one who was defending the ring accused another woman. She said, you know, well, you don't fucking know about trad values and getting married because you got, you know, this sex act happened to you in the lobby at the USA.
This music does kind of go with a explanation.
So Sarah Stock, I just think it's important
Trad values.
because there's some
and fingering
material ahead, but we don't want to, you know, we don't want to impugn anyone. We don't want to impugn anyone with false accusations, and so because I got the characters fingering. She was not involved in the fingering.
Yes.
Her only relationship was that the person that got fingered was in a tip with her online.
Yes, exactly.
Over the size of her wedding. Well, good thing her husband didn't throw out more cash for that bigger wedding ring, it turns out. All right, Sam, I guess before Will goes further, you've read the whole newsletter. What was do you have any editing notes? What was your big takeaway?
There's so many different twists and turns to this story. We're dealing with multiple layers of scandal and intrigue, accusations of infidelity, rumors of suicide. Milo makes a very strong appearance, a shifty character in his own right. Secret recordings, affairs,
let's
one semi-groinal shot that I almost.
All right.
Will, I will say, lied in his draft. Will, thank God he's got.
I should also say,
I think
now
we
got
to go back to that.
Layers of scandal and intrigue.
You've read the whole newsletter. What was
this will be the last time I put it back.
Big takeaway?
I got to get
There's
to
so
bed
many
sometime
different
tonight.
twists and turns to this story. We're dealing with multiple layers of scandal and intrigue.
Yep. Multiple layers of scandal and intrigue. All right. We're going to do
We're
it.
dealing with multiple layers of scandal and intrigue, accusations of infidelity, rumors of suicide. Milo makes a very strong appearance, a shifty character in his own right. Secret recordings, affairs, and then one semi-groinal shot that I almost. Will, I will say, lied in his draft. Will, thank God he's got.
I should also say, now before we get into all the twists and turns, that...
Wait, don't you want to know how he lied?
We'll find out. We'll get to it. I know. It's related to the thought pick. Everybody, there's a thought pick coming at the end. And there was a lie related to that. So it's just a little teaser. But the other element of this, and the twists and turns you didn't mention, I had messaged Will a couple days ago and said that I saw an alarming tweet from someone I followed who said they were worried that Elijah Schaefer, the main character here, had murdered his family. And spoiler, he is not. He is not. But that is also part of the twists and turns. There were some people wondering if he had committed. What's wifeicide?
I think they call it like family annihilation these days.
Family annihilation. Okay.
Is that the technical term?
One more thing before we get through this, we'll walk us through what happened. Elijah, I just don't want to understate because I've followed him for a minute. He is on the noxious, disgusting edge of right-wing world. You know, he offers the type of material that they might even look askance at times on Bannett's Forum. He is overtly bigoted, racist, fucking hateful, and in some ways I find him kind of interesting and why I follow him because he's not afraid to go after the Trump administration, but from the right, they're not
extreme enough
in his view. In the areas where I would say most of us would think they're doing too much, such as deportations. So anyway, Will.
Yeah, he's
Elijah,
sort of just to build on that, he's sort of like a Nick Fuentes type guy but scruffier and sort of more cruder, and like Nick Fuentes is sort of like, okay,
Nick
like
Fuentes
wipe
getting
your
some
shoes
mentions
when you
these
come in,
days.
Elijah,
Old
don't
bastard.
mess up the place. So this story begins. Elijah disappeared a month ago from his online show. Things seem to not be looking good. A lot of people were leaving, a lot of staff were dropping off the website, and then he returns last week, and he says, this show's gonna be about how much I don't like Indians, I don't like Muslims, but first, people are out to kill me. And he goes on this whole rant. For one thing, Kash Patel's girlfriend is suing Elijah for saying she's a Mossad agent, but he claims it goes beyond that people are trying to kill him. And then he goes in kind of this like,
we're getting
sort of
all
like
the straight
custody
dope, the
dispute
beef.
rant. At the time, he started
Jesus.
divorcing his wife in late January, but he had not told anyone.
Bulwark
this. And he kind of
has
starts ranting,
dirt.
and he's like, Mama Bear, what about Dad? Who cares about Dad?
Mama Bear, fuck you. What about Dad? What about Dad?
And it's this whole thing, and then it was looking grim, I guess. And then over the weekend.
And what platform is this on? Is this like on is this on Rumble? Is he Twitching?
This is on Rumble.
Son
yeah,
of a
this is
bitch.
not on YouTube. This is sort of the back alley.
And sorry, Mama Bear is supposed to be his wife.
His wife, yes. That people are saying, I think he feels that in the conservative movement, I guess he's calling back to like Sarah Palin or whatever, where it's like, with the Mama
he
Bears.
also was at the time of this return
The
video after he
Mama
disappeared.
Bears.
This was when he did come back with a permanent black eye, right? Is that right?
Yes,
God
he came
damn it.
back and he said he looked really red. He's talked before about having a drinking problem that he claimed to have sort of gotten ahead of, and then he said, I have this permanent black eye from all the stress
What is
I'm
a
under.
permanent black eye?
I don't know.
How
if
is
he's
a black eye
getting
permanent?
just
Yeah,
every
there's a
week
lot
by-
here I cannot play.
I think it's kind of like the Trump hand.
Jesus. So much of it. Of course, going back to my creator mix, that's not gonna fill. That's not gonna mix with that horrible picture of Pudge hands right there. I've got content to think about, man. Son of a bitch. But we are actually at 1 in the morning. I stayed up about an hour later than I planned on. So, I'm going to have to plan some headline music better. Do some loops on that shit, which I actually know how to do. It's just going to take more time. But, yeah. Did actually get some painting in tonight. And I should have blended that before it had a chance to dry up. So, I got to actually dig into it a little bit. And that's not too bad. But yeah, we're starting to get light quality in here. More depth. Starting to look like I actually kind of know what I'm doing when it comes to painting. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, if anybody knows classical music better than I do, something super dramatic like that shit, let me know. Because I want to get some friggin' pieces up there for when I'm watching that kind of stuff. Some of it was perfect, and most of it was a fail, but the stuff that did work, worked wonderfully. But this is where we're at tonight. This is where I'm leaving it. So, like I said, well, and it's starting to look good even on camera, under horrible lighting conditions. Probably the edges of the skin and put in some hair details. Obviously down here, this is not what this actually looks like in the photograph. And, you know, that's all just stuff I'm going to work on going forward. I think I should be done with this weekend. I worked on it some when I wasn't on camera. But I think, you know, just keep going at it. It's going to dial in and look exactly how I want it to look. So, yeah. Suck on that. But anyway, that's enough of sex scandals on the far right. Or maybe not. Should we get like 2 more minutes
Situation.
of
You know,
dirt?
you shake too many hands. You know, you have too many women smacking you across the face, and it just never goes away. Like once you have, you know, if that ring hits you across the face enough times, it becomes permanent.
Sure. Okay, sorry, Will, go on. So, I mean, he looks like a guy on the verge of a nervous breakdown. I mean, it looks pretty grim. He's saying, you know, what I've been through in the past month, you know, lesser men, if they had just a fraction of it, they would take their own lives. I'm hanging on by a thread here. So I was like watching this, I'm like, oh boy. And then on Sunday or Monday, he posted a truly bizarre video of himself wandering through a flooding hotel.
My feet are wet, and then we got some flooding, I guess. Okay, it's falling on me.
Like it's almost like we're seeing his dreams or something. Like it's like a flooding hotel, and he's just like, "Where am I? What's happening?"
It felt. I watched the video. It felt very Shining-like. I couldn't tell what the hotel was, but all the floors are just completely soaked, and he's walking.
And he's just like sitting there in the water, basically. It's like, get out of
here. And he stumbles upon
I've not had a chance to
vending machine.
pull it up.
All right.
What even is going on, right? There's a thing, okay? This I can like take a seat and then actually rest. But then I have some what? Some Diet Dr. Pepper?
Okay, so where is this? Like, where is that happening?
We don't know. I mean, he's in Florida. He said he's now gone to Virginia. He lives in Florida. He said he's gone to Virginia to work with the FBI in some sort of scheme. But basically, that's where we are.
I thought the FBI was trying to kill him.
Well, you know, maybe there's different factions.
All right, we can leave it off there. Yeah, I don't want to hear these guys farting around trying to over-explain some shit. Get to the point. No, I get it. Content, whatever. But I got to find some more music. Classic music. Dramatic. It'll go good with these assholes friggin' wrinkling their friggin' foreheads about, you know, I agree with them on most of their shit, but at the same time, I'm a different bag. But anyhow, if you tuned in tonight, I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Still trying to hit my stride with content. One thing that there's always going to be is there is always going to be art. That is not going anywhere. But, yeah. If anybody has any suggestions, any questions, any requests, go ahead and hit me in my messages. Leave me a message on one of my walls. As you can see, I've got the several formats that are available. You can find me on those different stations. But for tonight, we're going to go ahead and call it. I have been watching replays of certain things, and I may actually want to look something up because it went to my heart. Oh, this was inspiring. And if you know about Brody King, Brody King actually did a show in Mexico last year, Mexico City. AEW went, and he wore an Abolish ICE shirt. And pretty awesome. But let's see if we can get that audio going.
Now the face in the eyes of the champion.
MJF is perplexed. Very nice. So that's where I'm leaving it. We are ending with the fuck ice. Just crowd work there at a pro wrestling show. They were in Chicago. They have a reason to say it. So, anyhow, yeah, that'll be it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Chatters be chatting. Lurkers be lurking. And if you have any suggestions, any questions or anything, hit me up. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will be on again soon. Thanks for watching.